We're here with Susan Frenzel. Can you tell us what you do with Heartland?
Yes, I do a lot. So I'm on the board. I've been on the board since 2007. In addition to my board duties, I help with volunteers, and I also help with development.
Awesome. Why did you get involved with Heartland?
That's a great question. Because the movies, like I started bringing my children to the films, and then a good friend of mine said, you should come volunteer at Heartland. And I said, okay. So I started on the gala.
Yeah.
I met you, I believe, right?
It
Back
was
in
Love
the
at
early
First Sight,
days,
yeah.
love at first sight, and I've never left. Really.
Awesome.
So I was a volunteer first, then a donor, then on the board, and then I started helping out in the office in 2012.
Welcome to Heartland. This is Jay Hughley from Sunny in the Dark. Can you tell us just a little synopsis about your movie?
Sure. Sunny in the Dark is about a marriage and family counselor who I play named Jonah Bach. And Jonah is slowly disappearing from the world and sort of retreating from life, and he doesn't quite know why. He's moved to the other side of town. He's moved out of his apartment. He broke up with his girlfriend. He got rid of his dog, and he's slowly just sort of retreating. And unbeknownst to him, there's a girl that's missing in town who is living in the crawl space of his house, and she's watching every move that he makes through cracks in the floor. And slowly over time, they both start to feel less alone in the world for different reasons. And it's a beautiful film. It's a sort of an existentialist piece, and it's about loneliness and isolation, and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, it's an interesting story because what you perceive in the very beginning of it completely changes at the very end of the movie, and I won't give away anything.
Yeah,
but
it's so true. And I felt like, by page 5, I thought, oh, this is a horror movie. I get this. And then by page 10, you're like, oh, no, it's not a horror movie. And it's some really interesting twists and turns. I think I just had a regular old audition for it initially, and then I just fell in love with it. And I said to everybody that was important in the process, like, I really want to do this. Let's make this happen. And they gave me some more notes, and I read for it again, and within a month I was on the set in Dallas.
So because most of the film takes place where you're not interacting with each other, did you actually interact very much prior to the point of them meeting in the movie?
That's where the actor's work comes in handy. I mean, we had very little time together. But she was off camera for me a lot of the times and things like that. And she's such a brilliant actress, Hannah Ward, and so that was really helpful. But most of it was just in our imagination.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Paul Stanko, and I'm from Superior the Movie. So happy to be here at Heartland Film Festival. So in love with the Heartland Film Festival and in love with Wonder Woman Productions. Amazing. Everybody here is awesome. So come see us. Come see us. And if you can't see me, see somebody else. Everything you see is good. Love you.
Hi, this is Wonder Woman Productions, and we're here with Phil Alaco from The Truth About Lies. Can you give us a little synopsis about your film?
The film Truth About Lies, it's about Gilby Smalls, who is basically turns out being more honest when he's lying than when he's telling the truth. So he goes through a bunch of really terrible tragedies, but he loses his job, loses his house, loses his girlfriend, and then when he kind of hits rock bottom, he moves in with his mom, and then he decides through the advice of a friend, decides that if he starts putting himself out more as a winner and kind of fudging the truth a bit, that maybe his luck will change. So he winds up starting with a bunch of small white lies that kind of lead to a spirals
Yeah.
into something out of control.
Awesome. So any inspiration to aspiring filmmakers that you would tell them just kind of as they're getting started?
It's funny, so many things I remember hearing as I was coming up that are kind of cliche, but are really true. The idea of just going making your film.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to have the perfect situation. You're never going to have the money you dream to have or the biggest actors you dream to have. And I think sometimes, and it's a weird balance. I think sometimes we're waiting for the perfect opportunity, but you at some point you have to work with the canvas you have,
Right.
and the limitations are your canvas. So instead of feeling discouraged by whatever limitations you have, I would be inspired by those and say, okay, you may have wanted to paint something the size of a building, but maybe the first time you get to paint something this big, and that's the size of your canvas, and that's what you have to work with. And your limitations define what you have to work with, and it's what you do with those that helps make your film. And sometimes those limitations make the best films.
Absolutely.
I think of, there's one example I always remind myself of whenever I run into some kind of limitation. And I think of, Night of the Living Dead, where they couldn't show zombies all over the world, right? So one of the ways to really get that paranoia was to be in a basement and have the radio turning on and TV going. And it was a creative way to show you that the world was being taken over, but it was more effective because it would have been easier to just show them all over the world taking over, but
That's right.
because you're in a basement and you have radio going, it was really creative. And so sometimes your limitations push you to do something more creative than you might have even originally conceived.
Superior is about two best friends in the summer of 1969 who just graduated high school, played by these two fine gentlemen, and they, before going their separate ways in life, decided to go on a 1,300-mile bike ride around the gargantuan and unforgiving Lake Superior. Superior is all about kind of finding your place in the world and going on an adventure and really taking advantage of this wonderful world around us. And kind of the transformative nature of film is Superior showcases such a wonderful part of the United States of America and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and the shores of Lake Superior, and really, we hope, inspires people to go out and go on adventures and really grow in themselves through that journey.
Yeah, I know we certainly did while we were filming the movie. The whole process was kind of an adventure in and of itself, and I think that's the kind of filmmaking that Heartland really exemplifies and captures, is the filmmaking that's done on location for lower budgets, but still of that incredible quality because of the ambition of all of that. So
that's really reflected in the experience we've had here as well. I think they encapsulate that love of going out there and doing it and making movies, and that's exactly what we feel from the people who work here and the festival as a whole. It's just such a nurturing place, and we've enjoyed our time here immensely.
So the story of Superior was inspired by my Uncle Carl and his cousin Dudza, who in the summer of 1971 went on this bike ride around Lake Superior. And they woke up one day and it was kind of like, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? And they decided to go on a 10-day, 1,300-mile bike ride. And when I heard this story...
That's, something you
that's
just
something
do
that
on
you
a
do.
Saturday
Exactly.
afternoon.
And so when I first heard this story from my Uncle Carl, I was so fascinated by kind of a time and place where that sort of adventure and that whimsical, go off into the world nature was possible, that it became the backbone for our film.
Yeah, it was actually incredibly fun.
Yeah.
I loved. 1969 isn't that far away from current day, so a lot of a lot of those traditions and things are still intact to this day. But that's the beautiful thing about filming up in the Keweenaw and Calumet, is things haven't really changed, and that's a good thing. It's still very much the life and the culture and just even the look of the buildings is still intact, and it feels very hospitable and warm, and it's a fun thing to be a part of as an actor, and certainly a fun thing to watch as an audience member.
Yeah, I think we quickly learned on this shoot that the important thing, because it is so removed from time, the important thing is each other and the characters we meet. There's really, it's almost a timeless story in that it's not dependent on the time it's told. It fits extremely well in that time, but the story being told is about two guys who go on a trip and, the love between friends and cousins and the journeys you go on together. So.
Any final thoughts you have for festival goers?
We'd love to see you. We're playing Wednesday night and Friday night here at the Heartland Film Festival, and we've enjoyed incredible audiences our first two times here, and certainly they've brought incredible questions, and they're really just well-learned filmmakers, and we love meeting everybody. We've been on tour with this film for a little while now, and every step of the way we're meeting incredible people that are having wonderful responses to our film, and we love meeting you and hearing your stories, and we can't wait to see more of it this week. So thank you all so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
You.
Thank you.
Intro.